And welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and in today's tutorial we're going to work on the open wave shawl together. Now this is a really interesting shawl. Now when I saw it in the photo I thought, okay, well it's nice, but then when I saw it in person, what a completely different element to it. And I'm hoping that's coming across on your screen right now. This is one of those surprise projects where in person it looks more amazing than it does in the photograph. I know I'm probably not even allowed to say that, but it does. So what makes this kind of shawl amazing is that it's a transitional yarn. So I've used Treasure here by Boutique, Red Heart Boutique. But in the model that we had in the mannequin in the opening credits, we would have shown you this one here. This is James D. Brett Marble Chunky. We used 2.5 balls of it for the entire shawl. Now you will notice that in the model of itself, in the pattern itself, is that she has no tassels. It's just looking like this. So my assistant Colleen, she actually did the sample and she says, Mikey, she goes, it doesn't feel finished to me. Can I add my own embellishments to it, to what I think it needs? So I said, well, it's creativity, it's crochet, you know, add what you want. So she came up with adding tassels to 3 of the 4 sides. So she did ones on either sides and then the bottom. And I will tell you, those tassels really do kick this up a whole nother level. So in today's project I'm going to show you how to work on this, and it's very simple, and then I'm going to take it even further and show you how Colleen finished it, doing the tassels all the way around. And because she's added tassels and the tassels are quite lengthy as far as amount of yarn, it's going to change your yarn quantities for your particular pattern, so you just got to be aware of that. But if from start to finish she used about 500 grams of James C. Brett Chunky Marble, which is 2.5 balls. So let's get started right now. So to get started I'm going to be using James C. Brett for this particular sample. This is another color line for that same yarn. It is wonderful, absolutely just amazing for summertime if you're interested in that. So you're gonna love me now, because what I've done is that I went through the pattern and figured out what the stitch counts are so that you can change the size. So maybe you want something bigger, maybe you want something smaller. The secret is the number 7. So let's begin. I'm gonna show you how to do the foundation chain to start, because you're gonna need to start it in a just slightly different way. To start off with, we're gonna do a slip knot as we normally would, and we use a little bit of an extra long tail here so I can use a darning needle to hide it in. No big deal. So let's begin. It says in row number 1, it says work 155 FSC. That's short for foundation single crochet. So this is not just a typical chain, this is a foundation chain, and because of that we have to work it out. Now I'm gonna do a sample. So here's the trick here. The multiples are 7. So what we want to do is that we want to keep everything at 7. So I'm not going to crochet 155 of these things. I'm going to go in groups of 7 because it makes it easier for me. So it's just because I'm going to lose count, I know I will. So what you can just do is once you get this chain done, you can determine if it's long enough, and as long as you have your groups of 7 then you're good. So how to do this, the foundation, is that we're going to pull through 1 and pull through again. So we have 2. We just did 2 chains. We are going to come into the first one that you came out of. Okay, we're just going to grab 1 string only, pull through and pull through. So that is classified as 1 foundation chain. So to do the next one, do you see how there's 2 strings there? We go to the second one over, pull the string and pull through again. So that was 2. So we go to the second one over, pull through again. So that's 3. So second, pull through, that's 4. Go to the second one over and 5. And what this is doing is it's putting stitches on both sides of here so that you have the most amazing chain to start with. So that was number 5. So to do more, so I want to keep it in groups of 7, so I'm going to do 6 and 7. So what I want to do is you can either go the 155 or you can just go in groups of 7, whatever makes sense for you. So I'm going to do this again. So 1, and I'm counting 2, 3, 4, that's 5, 6 and 7. And so did you notice how I counted on the second pull through? Because basically you're creating on both sides. So what I want you to do is create the length that you want, and you can keep it in groups of 7 or go the pattern instructions. And when we come back, what I need you to do at the very end of the chain is that you have to add in 1 extra foundation chain. So you're gonna do groups of 7 and then just add 1 extra at the very end, and then we're gonna capture the pattern from that point. So at the end of your chain, if you have not added 1 after you've done your groups of 7, or if you can just continue to follow the 155, it's the same thing, is that at the very end you'll just add 1 extra. So if you've done 155 as per the instructions, you've already done this. If you're only going in groups of 7, you must add 1. So let's begin. We're gonna move up to row number 2, and it says to chain 1 and turn. So what we're gonna just do is just chain 1 and turn. Here we go. So essentially it's gonna be really simple. So we're gonna single crochet into the very first 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Very easy. And now it says to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we want to skip 4 chains on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the 5th for a single crochet. Like that, and then do 2 more single crochets. So these ones always in the middle will always just only be 3 singles in a row. So let's begin to do that again. You've already know how to do this already. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then we come in and then we skip the 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, come into the 5th for a single crochet, and we do make sure that we do 3 single crochets here. So you're gonna do that all the way across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then we skip again 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Coming out to that one and put 3. So now I'm coming up to the end of my chain already. So this is where your chain will be a lot longer, because you could probably do a real sample, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And if your chain is right, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you will end up with 2 single crochets at the very end of your particular project to put in. And I do. So that does mean that I kept it in groups of 7 going all the way across. Now you're gonna notice that this is a lot more looser than the foundation chain that we started off with. When we go to finish this off, we're also gonna be making the same tension on the very last row. So if you're thinking it looking off right now, it's really not. It's part of the pattern. So let's turn around and let's do the next part. Okay, we're gonna move on to row number 3, and this is where it gets really simple. So the hard stuff is really over. So we want to chain 1 first to start, and then we're going to double or single crochet into the very first 2 single crochets that you see. So 1 and 2, so 1 into each. Now here is the 7 of chaining of 7, so you're gonna put 7 singles here, 7 single crochets. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now that you have your 7, even if it's not reaching over there, it will pull over on its own, so don't need to worry about that. So now you have 3 single crochets here, so you're gonna put in 1 single crochet into each one of the 3. So that will happen every time you come across this particular row. So here's your next group of 7, so we want to put 7 singles here into around that chain. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then here's your next group of 3, so 1 into each. 1, 2, and 3. And then here's your next 7. So there's going to be 7 singles there. This is 3. This is 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we have our next group of 3 singles, so that means that 1 into each, so 1 single crochet into each. And then here's your next 7, and you're just going to keep going across, and then on the final 2 you will put 1 into each one of the final 2. So you're going to notice at this point, and it's going to be really obvious, that you're going to say, well, that doesn't look right, because the bottom is really kind of, even if you stretch it, these loops kind of look out of alignment. You have to trust me, these will work out. It will stretch out once you get past a few more rows. To move up to the next row, we're going to turn around, and this will be row number 4. Now row number 4, you have to understand that these loops here don't just sit on top of each other, so the next big loop will be right in the middle of the two. Therefore that our starting has to be slightly different. So what we're just going to do, we've already turned our work, and we're just immediately going to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So in the rules of crochet, according to the instructions, this is a treble plus there is 3 chains added to this. And if you understand that, it just totally makes sense. So what you need to do is that you need to switch over, and you need to come over to the third one over. Now you can either count to the fourth one over, or you can just look at the group of 7 and determine which is the third one from the arch. And then you're going to put it in single crochet into the next 3 once you determine that first one. It's more of a visual thing than anything. So now you're going to chain your 7. So now we're creating the foundation for this particular level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And so we just come over here. You can either count the stitches, or you can just look for the third one over. Okay, once it's in the arch, just look for the third one and throw in a single crochet into that one plus the next 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, we automatically just come down. I'm gonna look for the third one over in the arch and throw in a single crochet into the next 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And again, I'm looking for the third one over in the arch. So it says you can count it, but if you can see it, why count it, right? You can just do it. So in the very end of this type of row, you have to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you need to treble down into the very first single crochet that's in the line. So we're gonna wrap and wrap. So we have it wrapped twice. We're going into the first one, and we're going to treble ourselves all the way back. So remember how we chained 7 in the very beginning? Even though it doesn't look the same, it's actually doing the same by the time we come across back in the other direction. So let's move up to your next row. So let's turn our work, and we're moving up to row number 5. Row number 5 is really simple again. So we're just going to chain 1 to start, and we're going to single crochet into the top of the treble that we started off with. Now normally we would chain 7 when it comes to these big ones here, but this is classified as a half, so that makes totally sense. So we're only going to single crochet around that section 3 times because it's only a half. And now we're going to single crochet into the middle here. So 1 into each one. So there's 3 in the middle, so there's 3 single crochets. Okay, and now here is your chaining of 7. So it's single crochet all the way across. So you already know how to do this. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you're just gonna chain your, or single crochet your 7 in those, and then add your single crochets where you need to, and go all the way across, and I'll meet you back up at the end of this line because you have a half on this side to deal with when we get there. Okay, I'm now coming up on the very end, and all I have here is that we have to treat this like it's a half. So we're just going to single crochet 3 times around here, and then in the 4th chain, you can just eye it up as well, you're going to single crochet in. And basically that locks that from being able to shift when you do that, because when you crochet around a chain just like you did, those can just move at any point, but as soon as you go into a chain, you've just now locked it into position. So that was row number 5. Let's move up to row number 6. When you go to finish this project, we always have to finish off on a row number 5, just like you're seeing it right now. So if you're ever thinking about finishing this, so if you want to make it bigger or smaller, you always have to finish it so that the next row that we're going to start to finish will be going up after this. So it always have to be after the halves are done, just like this. Let's turn around and go on row number 6. So Let's turn our work here. We're going on row number 6. You already know how to do this row. We've already done it before, and it's just for a repeat pattern. They always say it again. So we're going to chain up 1, and then we're going to single crochet into the very first 2 that we have. 1 and 2, and now we chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then we just immediately come to the next arch. Just look for the third one over, and we are going to single crochet in to the next 3. And so you want to continue to do that all the way across. So continue to do that, so chain 7 and then continue to go on the arch, and when we come back I'll just review one more time. When you get to the end of this row, remember that the final 2 single crochets are yours to be able to secure in. Okay, so we've reached all the way across, so essentially what's happening down here is happening here. So let's turn our work, and this is when we start repeating the pattern again. So basically to start is just chaining a 1 and then single crochet into the next 2, and now you have the chain here, so that means that you're single crocheting 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and continue to do that. I have to do 7 again, number 7, and essentially you just, oh my, and 7, and then the middle here we single crochet. So we're just going to continue to go along in this pattern. So when we're finishing up this pattern, once we decide that we're doing the edging, we always have to finish up with row number 5 of being our last, and it is so important because the shawl will not stay in balance if you're going to deviate from that. So that's just a helpful tip for you. So carry on, and what I want you to do is that when I come back I'm going to be finishing off where I'm doing one of these layers one more time, and then I'm going to show you how to finish, and then I'm going to show you how Colleen finished hers. So we're going to do the finishing row. So this is what you would need to do once you've decided that it's big enough. So we're going to chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and we're recreating this half that we have down here. So we immediately just come over, you can just count it over if you want, but we come to the third stitch in the arch and do 3 single crochets like so, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then we just immediately come to the next arch and look for the third one over. So we want to do this whole row just like this, and when we come back I'm going to show you how to go back across this row, and then we'll do the finishing off techniques. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll show you how to do the finishing techniques in just a moment. Now we're coming up to the end of that same row, so 1, 2 and 3, and just like we did down here it'll be a treble, so we wrap and wrap and go right into the beginning and come back up. So let's turn our work and finish off this row, and this will kick it up. So let's do it. So we're just going to chain 1 first, we single crochet into the top of the treble, and because this is only a half loop compared to what it is down here, we are just going to do 3 single crochets there, and then 1 into each one of the next. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and now we're going to, this is your 7, so we're gonna have 1 single or 7 single crochets in there. So continue to do this row as you normally would, and when we come back we're actually gonna do the finishing edges just like it is, to be able to make it look just like the starting. So we're coming to the end of that row, and essentially we just put in 3 singles in the end because it's only classified as a half, and to about the 4th chain over we will single crochet to lock that position in. So let's begin to do the edging. So this is what it will look like. So you will have to make sure that you have a half here when you go to finish, so that you can make the other side look brilliant, and this is essentially what it will have. And once you stretch things out, you will notice that everything will line properly. So let's begin the edging row number 1. Okay, let's begin the edging. We've just turned our work, and essentially we're just going to chain up 1, and it says to single crochet into the next 2. So this would be like it normally would be to start. 1 and 2. So the first two are like that. So you will have noticed here that this here, do you see how this is arching up but this stays flat? Well, what we're about to do is that the other side is gonna remain flat like that. So in order to do that, we have to chain only 4. So not 7 but 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we immediately just come to the next arch to the third one up, or you can count it if you wish, and just do a single crochet in. 1, 2 and 3. So the difference on this row versus the other one, see how it's more straight across? It's just like it is on the bottom. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3 and 4, go to the next arch, the third one up, and slam in some single crochets into the next 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it's a very easy way to finish the edging off on this. So we still have one more row to go, because just like you have nice thick lines here, if you leave it like this you're gonna have a really thin line. So we want to thicken that up. So when we come back we're gonna be able to do that. So just skipping over to the 4. And so we're gonna come up onto the very edge right here, and so then the last two are going to be your single crochets in like this. Okay, so that's how you do that. So let's turn our work and finish this project off. So what we're gonna just do now is chain 1. We've already turned it, and it says single crochet into the next 2. Okay, so these are the 2 that we have. They're right on the edge, and essentially we're just gonna thicken up what we already have. So we're going to put in 4 single crochets into the chaining 4 space. So normally we would have done 7, but this is different because it's the edge. And so then we have our 3 in a row of singles, so we're just gonna single crochet those in. And here's your next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, you have your 3 again, and you just keep working across your row like that. Okay, here's your next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here's your next group of 3. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and here's your next group of 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then you put in you have 2 here, so you're just gonna put 1 into each. So a single crochet and a single crochet. So this would be how you've actually finished your project, and as you can see then you have a really nice beautiful project to go, and everything is in alignment, and you start questioning in the middle whether it's actually aligned or not, but once you get it a certain way that you can actually start seeing that. So when we come back I'm gonna show you how Colleen did her tassels. So if you want to do tassels you can either fasten off and using a different yarn, but I'm just gonna leave it on just for the sake of argument. And essentially what she's done here is that she's put tassels every 2 stitches, so every other stitch. So how she did it is that she chained 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So right now she has double crocheted herself all the way back, but she's actually added more stitches to create the actual ruffling that we see. So she's just went from the 3rd from the hook, and she just started to half double crochet herself. So 1, so she's put a half double crochet into 2 of them into each one of the chains as she's going back toward the project. So 1 and 2, and we're just coming all the way back. Now she did admit that this does take a lot longer than you would hope it would, but it's one of those parts of finishing that it sets it from a rest if you spend the time and do it. It does really look totally amazing, and hopefully that when you saw the photograph that you were totally convinced on it as well, because it really does look incredible. Okay, so we're just going to single. Now because we're putting the half doubles in, we're putting 2 into each one, it's gonna cause the natural twirl to happen, which is kind of like the whole charm of this particular project. So we're just coming back all the way. Throughout this tutorial my yarn ball has been snagging on something. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so we're going half doubles into each, coming all the way back. So we have our last one. Okay, and so basically when she came back, she just single crocheted herself into where she was started, and then she single crocheted into the very next stitch, and then she single crocheted again, and then she started with 12 again. So basically just like what I did here, you're gonna chain up your 12 and then half from the third from the hook, you will half double crochet twice each one, and it will make these really curly, really interesting tassels. So basically on the sides here, she just roughed it out. So she just basically, what she did the bottom first so she could get an eye on how far the stitching was, and then when she did the sides, because you really can't see the stitch work, she just roughly put it in order for it to make sense. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. Join me again for more free patterns and ideas.